I am the Tribune. My name is Joshua. And today is a great day because we're going to cast down one of these false enemies that you guys and we all, at some point in time, think that we're fighting. Today we're going to talk about why your now never looks like next. Now, before you say, oh, no, but God has He prepares you for your next, and if I'm a singer now, then I'm going to be a singer then, and He's telling me to do that, and it's the same. No, that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is how He trains you to get ready to handle that next. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when God actually prepares you in strange places, strange situations that you would think something has to be wrong, and this is Satan. This is actually Satan that's coming against me. Now, and we just fight it. We are just fighting away. We know that God didn't send this, and we're fighting it, fighting the situation, trying to get promoted, trying to move over here, move over there, get with them, talk to them, get rid of these people. These things, we have to make sure we're checking with God about these things, because He always does this. This is something that took me a while to really realize. I saw a pattern, and now I'm very comfortable with it because I've accepted that He's like this and He's not going to change. So for all the people who think that God will change His strategy because you don't like what He's using now, you should give up on that, because He's way more patient than you, and He's not going to change. He'll let you burn out. You are going to burn out. So if I were you guys, I would hear this principle, because God, I'm sure, has put you guys in places that you're looking around thinking, maybe I'm not supposed to, maybe I didn't hear God. Maybe I did not hear God. And maybe it's Satan that told me that, and now I'm in the wrong. No, in fact, if God told you something wonderful, and then you end up going the opposite direction, or it looks like you are in the wrong place and there's nothing you can do about it, that means that He has ordered that thing. That means He actually ordered it for you, and you need to stay there, shut your mouth, and make sure you go listen to God. That's what you need to do, because you're wasting time. You're wasting everything. In the time that you're fighting and trying to get out of a situation that really you should stay in, and even you should understand where you are by listening to God, all that time you're fighting, you really could be getting out and moving to the next step, by the way, which won't look like you think it's going to look. So, when we're talking about this, the first step is to be God's friend. And before that, you need to be a Christian. You need to accept Jesus Christ as your personal Savior. That's what you need to do. And if you need to pray that prayer, by the way, we put it in the About section. So you can go read it and pray that to yourself, and then you start your journey, and then you can then work towards being His friend, so you can benefit from these things. You can benefit from this understanding. Because something I've learned is that I really don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do what He's asking me to do. He has to order things and order my steps so that I don't miss anything. Why is that? Because you don't really know what the full picture is that He's trying to do. You learn as you go. And the problem with us is we think we know the entire plan. We really think we know, and we have just settled on the fact that we know how He's going to do it. We know every step. We know what's going to happen tomorrow. We know at what time on Tuesday that God's going to show up, and what He's going to do and what He's going to say. And we think we know who should help us. That's really a huge mistake, to think we know those things, because we don't know. In fact, many times, we don't need what we think we need. We don't need certain people to help us. That's absolutely not it. In fact, the truth is, God likes to get the glory for situations. So he specializes in putting you places where you would look around and be like, I could never do what he's just asking me to do because I'm not in the right place. And he's like, you're in the right place. You're absolutely in the right place. And I'm going to get glory out of this, because when people see that you move from here to here, they will be shocked. And they'll say, who is that? Who is that person's God? Who is their God? That's the question. And then they'll want to get to know him. They'll come into the kingdom. And then they'll be the same thing for him. He will do it over and over again. He's no respecter of person. The only thing that he respects is faith and relationship. He loves that. So anybody who wants to be in a relationship with him can get this. Now, it's very difficult. I'll say it right out of the gate. Anybody who tells you that this process isn't difficult is lying to you. They're lying. And they're telling you something you want to hear. Because they want, in front of you, while you're with them, they want you to be excited. They want you to feel good. But I'm not one of those people. That's totally ineffective. And I like telling people the hard things, because if you're not the person to go on that journey and it's not worth it to you, it's better. I think it's kinder to tell you in advance how hard it is, so that you can turn around and not do it and waste your time, because it's difficult. But I also like to tell people that the rewards are amazing. The rewards are unbelievable. I've said this in my other videos. They're incredible. You can't even compare the difficulty to the rewards. It's absolutely incredible. So when I speak about how now doesn't look like next, what I'm talking to is the fear that you're in the wrong place when God has put you there. Now he goes by the heart. He looks at the heart and says, are they really seeking me? If they're really seeking me, and you know in your heart you're trying to find God and what he has planned for you, and you really want a relationship with him, a friendship with him, if you do that, he will make sure you're in the right place. Now, the question is, why else does he do that? Why? It's not just for testimony, because yes, he wants the testimony to touch people and for people to be astounded. But that's not the core reason for you. The core reason for you is that you'll grow in him and start trusting him. That's what it is. And through that process of being obedient in those situations, then you become friends. He considers you as a friend. Then he starts telling you his secrets. But it would be wrong for me to tell you that along the way, you're not going to find places that you're in and be like, this is not it. Not even close to it. I'm going backwards. I've spent 10 years going backwards. I was closer when he called me. When he started talking to me, I was closer. What happened? No, everything wonderful happened. He's taking you backwards so he can actually make you the head. It's a better story. Who watches a movie where the character starts off wonderful and it ends like that? And that's the first thing that happens. That's the last thing that happens. That's the most horrible storyline I've ever heard. And nobody does that. Not even Satan's children make movies where everything starts off wonderful and it ends wonderful. Even Satan knows this principle. Now, if Satan knows this principle, how come we don't know this principle? This is really, really crazy now. The enemy who doesn't have the Holy Spirit understands the principle of building a climax that entertains and enthralls people and makes them pay attention. But Christians don't understand this. So many of them think that God is just going to make everything perfect from the start and perfect at that. No, God is the best storyteller. And you're his best character. You're the star role. So that means that he's going to take you through things that look opposite. I told you, opposite. The strategy of opposite. And this is a passion of mine because I didn't understand this at first. You know why I didn't understand it? Because every Sunday, so many of the pastors, even the ones I admire very much, have everybody shouting, thinking they're going to get this promotion every week. And everybody's shouting every week for this. And I was thinking, maybe God doesn't want me to shout about getting a promotion this week because I'm not going to get one. Maybe he wants me to shout because I'm in the place he wants me to be in and I'm being obedient in a hard place. And that's it. And he doesn't tell me when I'm coming out. He doesn't tell me even what his timing is. And that is the problem with being addicted to understanding God's timing. You're not going to understand it. And it's really not even addicted to understanding it because you can't get addicted to something that you never even try. You can't understand his timing. That means why are we shouting over thinking God's timing is his timing? He tells you when this is timing, when this is timing. You don't, it's going to, tomorrow. This is just going to just happen. No, and if he does end up doing things like that for us, it's because we're in baby stage growth. That's what that is. At first, when you first get to know the Lord, he gives you powerful witnesses to know that he is absolutely real. He will come find you. He will move mountains to show you. God, bring me an alligator with a Lego. And I live in Mississippi, in the house. I'm in Alaska, and I'd like to see, a parrot just land on my doorstep. Okay, maybe at first he will do crazy things like this because he wants you to know he's absolutely real, but there's a purpose for it. It's not so that you can now start throwing fleeces every time and think that you understand his time and you can control him. That's absolutely not the purpose. The purpose is to show you he's real so that from then on you can actually get a relationship with him. And when you don't see the parrot just land on your shoulder in the snow, when you don't see that, you don't say, what's going on, God? No, that's not what you do. What you do is you say, I know he's real, and I know he loves me, and he has the best plan for my life, and if he orders me to be here, then he orders me to be here. That's what this means. And it's very frustrating when people don't tell us this. Because I know for sure, because I've been through the process with God, that most of the time I'm not running down and falling out in I'm not in hysterics. That's not what I'm doing, actually. And he's not interested in that all the time. So every week I'm doing that's I don't know about that. This is why I'm talking to you guys, because that kind of culture where we have a rhythm of excitement, when I could predict when everybody's going to shout, that's a big problem. The rhythms are exactly the same every time? No, this is a big problem. And let me just tell you in advance, I love a lot of the pastors who even have these rhythms, okay? I've been fed by these people, and I love it. I love their messages. It feeds me. But while that feeds me, I did hit huge, huge frustration because I got involved in thinking that I could just every week's my time to be excited. No, it's not. It's not my time to be excited. It's my time to build. It's my time to think. It's my time to actually plan. Sometimes I'm going to go 3 years without shouting. I'm going to be building. I'm going to be strategizing. That's what I'm going to be doing. And once I started realizing that, I realized that my anxieties went away with working with God. I stopped expecting him to do something that I wanted him to do after one step. He says, do this. I'm like, great, I'll do it. Yes. And then tomorrow, no, stop it. Not tomorrow. Tomorrow you need to do something else and build and strategize. Get your pencil in your hand. Get your keyboard. We have another script to write. This is not a shouting time. Let's shout after you finish the process and God tells you, you need to now be very pleased because you finished and I'm going to bring you out soon. And even then, he doesn't tell you the timetable. And you should shout because we have relationship. That's what he's saying. Because when you're alone with me, I talk to you. Not because I'm going to get a car, not because I'm going to get a house. Promotion, no. Well, that's not what we're doing. That's not what builders and generals are doing. So, next will be wonderful. But God puts you in places along the way that are opposite. I want to tell you guys that the furthest you are away from what you think you're supposed to have is actually the closest you are to it. That's the truth. Because this is how you know you're ready to come into that kind of thing that he's telling you about. How you know is that you could be so far away from it with your natural eye that you actually can't even see land. You are so far out in the ocean that you have no idea where you are. You're looking around and you actually see nothing but water and sharks, and you're on a little raft. The way you know you're closest to it is when you could sit on that raft and be totally content knowing that God is God. Then he will send a helicopter and pick you up and fly you off. This is why? Because your relationship has grown with him so much so that you believe him when you're floating on a raft in the middle of the ocean with sharks circling you and the sun is beating down on your head, you're getting blisters, and you still say, God, I know that you're still gonna keep your promise. And even if I was mistaken on what your promise was, and I don't get what you tell me, I don't get what I thought you told me, you're still amazing. Even if I never get it, I'm happy just to be your friend out here on the raft. When you get to that point, and you could really mean it in your heart, and he knows, he can see, he knows. You can't fake it out. You can't trick him. When you get to that point in your heart, you are closest to getting to your next that you desire. And I promise you that he will blow your mind. It will be way better and way more fulfilling than even what you thought was next. It's a guarantee. Now, I'm not concerned if you don't believe it. You know why? Because it doesn't matter. He will come confirm these things to you. He will show you in prototypes. He will start small and just build you up into what I'm saying. So the fact that you are still watching means that he's going to be building. He's going to build you. Make sure you're a Christian. Make sure you accepted Jesus Christ as your personal Savior. He will come find you. He will confirm these things to you and show you that he wants to do this with you. I love you, and make sure you remember these things. It'll make it a lot easier for you. Hail Jehovah.